Hello, let's talk about cloud wars, and we're going to focus on AWS versus Azure. There certainly are a lot of other cloud providers out there, but these are the two big names. And I'm going to experience with both Azure and AWS is, I think fairly rich. I've used 14 months of Azure when I was at Idea5 as the director of application development, where I was in charge of architecture for the web side. Used lots of technologies from VMs all the way down to Redis and their Azure Search and Azure websites. On the AWS side, for my last 9 months here at Mosaic, been using a lot of Amazon technologies, so EC2 all the way down to CloudWatch. So I have extensive experience in both, and I feel that I'm qualified to at least sort of compare the two. Now, how will I compare them? That's a good question. There's so much they offer. Although I've used a lot of Azure and AWS services, I've only scratched the surface in a lot of areas. I just haven't been able to try every single thing that they offer, that either service offers. So, but before I started even thinking about how I would compare the two and where I would rank them, I decided the top 10 things for me, the things that are important to me when evaluating a cloud service provider would be these 10 things. And I think I'll probably capture at least 3 of your top 5 in these 10, I think, somewhere. Hopefully. And let's dive right in. So as far as compute instances, this is by far the largest cost from Idea5, from Mosaic, and then also Mosaic is affiliated with Huddle, so I have great access to their infrastructure engineers, and their compute is also their highest cost. So this is going to be round one. This is very important. So comparing the two, AWS has EC2, Elastic Compute, and then Azure's called VMs. But there are 54 AWS instance types to 52 on Azure side. And an instance type is a configuration like how many cores that you have on your VM and then how much RAM. So there are 54 versus 52, very similar. As far as image choices, you have a marketplace in both Amazon's and Microsoft's cloud offering, where you can pick, let's say I want to install, Ubuntu Server 1404 LTS, or maybe Windows Server 2012 R2. Those would be image choices. Maybe they're specific, like this is a Wowza Media Encoder server. So this is what these numbers are. The Azure number was very hard to come by. I had to basically crawl their API to get that number. So that's not published anywhere. AWS just puts it right there on their marketplace. As far as the number of operating systems supported, it's 11 versus 9. That's probably not going to impact you, in case it's just different flavors of Linux probably is the big discrepancy there. And then the number of CPUs that both support, you can put 40 in a VM in Amazon, 32 in Azure. And as far as memory goes, you can put a lot more memory on Azure side, 448 gigs versus 244 on the AWS side. So just to give you an idea, this is what I was talking about as far as image choices. Different, AMIs or, VHDs that you could install in your VM. On the Amazon side, you can see how you would choose like an Amazon RDS or Server 2012 R2. On the Azure side, you can see that their marketplace, you can, choose from the list, and on the right-hand side, you get a description. I'm going to declare this one a tie because you probably don't need 65,000 plus images, and you probably don't need 448 gigs of RAM. You're just not in that area most likely, and so as far as they both go, they're pretty close. I could argue either way which one's better. On the Amazon side, the VMs are a little bigger, so you get a little bit, more capacity, but that's priced in a little bit too. On the Azure side, they have a much slicker interface, I think, as far as that goes. But I really, in the end, I'm going to call it a tie. So I give them both 8 points. As far as storage goes, all right, so this is going to be probably your second highest cost in the cloud. Azure calls it blob storage. Amazon calls it S3. Just jumping right in here, we have AWS pretty much does everything that Azure does and more.